guys, welcome back to my channel. So I went to Comic-Con earlier in July. Sorry that this video took me a little while to get up in the grand tradition of me being late for everything. So I wanted to do a recap of con today. I didn't take a whole lot of video because I was working most of the weekend, but I was there for a whole week and ended up doing some things other than just con, which I did manage to take video of. I actually had a lot of fun the week of con. I ended up going to the One Direction concert on Thursday, which I normally would not probably have done, except a friend of mine really wanted to go and she was buying tickets and there was like a 2-for-1 kind of deal or something, so it wasn't that expensive. I had a terrible camera because the camera on my iPhone does not change focus, like it's stuck at one focus length, and then my little like PowerShot thing, the screen shattered. So the lens is fine, so I was taking video anyway, but I couldn't necessarily see what I was shooting, and also it's just kind of an old camera, and honestly the iPhone camera probably would have done better video if the lens worked. But I'm gonna put some clips of that. Iconopop was opening, which was really fun. And then One Direction happened, and it was very intense. I knew that there was going to be a lot of screaming, but I didn't quite know the extent that the screaming would be. It was like all those videos that you see of, you know, Elvis and the Beatles and girls just losing their minds. And that's great. I love the enthusiasm. My eardrums rang for days. That's what makes it beautiful. Which was also a result of the incredibly loud sound system. We were in Qualcomm Stadium, so it was a big concert, so it's not like I was surprised that it was loud. I was a little bit surprised by exactly how loud it was. But enough of the recap. I know that what you guys are really here for is the haul of books, so I'm just gonna get started on that. Unlike last year, I managed to pick up a ton of books. Last year I only did like maybe 4 or 5 because I was traveling and I needed to make sure that everything was gonna fit in my bag. This year I was also traveling, but I forgot about making sure that everything would fit in my bag. I ended up actually having to just ship a whole box of books to myself from San Diego because they wouldn't fit in my suitcase. I actually only brought 2 books with me that I wanted to get signed, so I managed to get Nimona by Noelle Stevenson signed. You can see down there. And then I managed to talk to Naomi Novik and get Uprooted signed, which is right there. I love that she does dragons on her signings, even when the book isn't specifically about dragons like Temeraire was. There's a character named Dragon though, so close enough. I also got to meet Kate Elliott, who is one of my favorite authors. I've talked about her Spirit Walker trilogy before. I'm currently reading another one of hers, actually this one right here. I sort of forgot that this was there. This is Spirit Gate. This is an older series than Spirit Walker, but I'm about halfway through it and I'm enjoying it so far. But anyway, I forgot that she was going to be there signing stuff, so I didn't bring any of her books with me. Thankfully, the very nice people at the Hachette booth gave me an entire spare set of the Spirit Walker trilogy so I could get those signed. So I have Cold Magic here, there we go, and then Cold Fire and Cold Steel, and I got them all signed. These are now extra copies. I ended up giving my original set to my roommate who wanted to read them, so at least they went to a good home. I also managed to pick up an advanced reader copy of her newest book, which is Court of Fives, which is coming out in August, it says, so soon, and probably might even be out by the time that I edit and upload this video. So this is a YA novel, which is different than her other ones. All of her others are adult fantasy, and I have actually already read it. I finished it on the plane back from San Diego, so I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to the next ones. It's basically about this world in which the main character is a girl of mixed race, where her father is from sort of the ruling class and her mother is from the sort of native, more subjugated class. And because their parents are from different social classes, they're actually forbidden to marry, so the children are technically bastards. And the main character, Jessamy, is one of the daughters, and she is one of, I think, 5 daughters. And she basically has been secretly competing in this athletic competition that's called the Fives, which is basically 5 different sort of obstacle courses. Anyway, she has been competing masked, which you can do in the lower levels, but if you win, then you have to take your mask off. And if she does that, her family would be ruined because girls in her class, you know, social status aren't supposed to be competing. So she goes into one of the games and has to make herself lose in order to not reveal her identity. And the boy that wins is a boy of the ruling class, and they end up sort of getting entangled, and there is this man in the ruling class who wants to like mess with her family to get more power, and anyway, so things evolve from there. But of course, this is a Kate Elliott novel, so I loved the world building, I loved the characters, you know, everyone was really dynamic and well drawn, and she spends a lot of time working with, you know, complex racial dynamics and, you know, complex systems of worship and things like that. It was a really great read. Because it was a YA, it, you know, moved a little bit faster than a lot of her other books, like, you know, Spirit Walker takes a long time, and I love that it takes a long time because it's very rich and very full. This was a lot shorter, but you could tell that she was still working with a lot of really complex ideas, so I thought overall it still really worked for me. And of course, I also got the book signed, which, there we go, you can see right there. Anyway, moving on, I told myself that I was gonna only, you know, do the same thing as last year, you know, only get like 2 or 3 or 4 books, you know, the ones that really stood out to me, that I was really genuinely interested in, would really genuinely read, and then I picked up 20. So I'm gonna move through what I've picked up pretty quickly because I haven't read any of the rest of them, so I'm just gonna be doing a quick recap. So one of the ones that I picked up was called Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I don't actually know a whole ton about this, except that it's won a bunch of awards, it's been really highly praised. It seems like it's a, you know, Asian-inspired fantasy novel, so I figured that I would give it a try. Everyone seems to be talking about it and loving it, so it's a little bit thick for what I normally read. Like, there's a reason that I don't read Game of Thrones, which is that I just don't have the patience for it, but if it ends up being like that, then I probably won't finish it, but I thought that I would at least, you know, give it a try and start it. So it's Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I also picked up another few that I don't actually know a whole lot about. There was Starlight by Melissa Landers, which is something about space and possibly pirates, and I don't know, it's like space adventures, and it's young adult, and I just thought, you know, why not? I also picked up Trial by Fire by Josephine Angelini, which is like parallel worlds and Salem and witches and stuff, so they were just giving it out, and I thought, why not? Again, I did not have very good self-control this year. I also picked up Watch the Sky by Kirsten Hubbard. I think this one is actually non-fantasy or sci-fi, it's just like straight contemporary fiction. The main character is a girl who, it seems like she sort of belongs to like a cult, or like her father is one of those like doomsday sayers, and so it's about her sort of maybe breaking away from his beliefs and sort of figuring out for herself what she believes, and you know, the people at the Disney booth seem to really like it. Still on the contemporary YA track, the next one I picked up was Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. This was one that the people at the Disney booth were talking about a lot. They really loved it. It's, again, not fantasy, but it's about a girl who has what's called like the purely obsessional version of OCD. So she doesn't have the compulsions, but she has these spiraling obsessive thoughts, and so she's one of like the popular kids, but she doesn't really like being one of the popular kids, and I think it's, you know, one of those self-acceptance novels. I haven't read it yet, but apparently everyone loved it, so I am looking forward to this one. I'm probably going to start it soon. The next one I picked up requires a tiny bit of explanation. So there was a book that I read a while ago called Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I'm not showing it to you because I genuinely don't think I have it anymore. I think I gave it away in my last move, you know, when I moved here. So I read it and I thought that it was okay. It had interesting magic systems. I really liked some of the world building, but overall I just felt that it got overshadowed by this not very compelling or interesting romantic plotline that was, you know, star-crossed lovers, but they didn't actually have any chemistry, and it just felt sort of weighed down by that. And so I didn't get the rest of the books. I just sort of let the series go by, even though everyone started to talk about them and say that they were fantastic, and I just didn't get it. So I was there at the Hachette booth, I think it was, and I was talking about this, how I'd read the first book and hadn't read the rest of them because I didn't really necessarily like the first book that much, and they told me that after the first book, she got a different editor, and the second and third book are actually completely different from the first book and don't have the problems of the first book. So I said why not, and got book 2, which is Days of Blood and Starlight. These are by Laini Taylor. And also, why not book 3, so Dreams of God and Monsters. I will have to see if I have Daughter of Smoke and Bone somewhere, but I kind of don't think I do. But I don't think I would reread it anyway, so I'll give them a try. I will at least give book 2 a try. If I end up not liking book 2, I probably won't read book 3, but everyone seemed to think that they vastly improved after book 1, so I guess I'll try it. So I've got a few more here. I've got Ink and Bone, The Great Library by Rachel Caine, which is basically an alternate universe in which the Library of Alexandria did not burn down, and it seems like it's sort of a futuristic dystopia where, like, it says, ruthless and supremely powerful, the Great Library is now a presence in every major city, governing the flow of knowledge to the masses. Alchemy allows the library to deliver the content of the greatest works of history instantly, but the personal ownership of books is expressly forbidden. So, and I don't know, it just seemed interesting. People have been talking about it, it seems to have been getting good reviews, and Rachel Caine was doing a signing, so I figured I might as well pick up a copy, and I will let you know if it ends up being any good. A lot of futuristic dystopias, not so much, but we'll see. I also picked up Broken Monsters by Lauren Bukes. I actually didn't know anything about this. I just read the back and it seemed interesting. It's about a body is found that's like half boy and half deer, and so it seems like magic is sort of seeping into the cracks of this city and people are dealing with it in sort of various possibly unhealthy ways, and it's an adult fantasy book and it seems like it's maybe kind of dark, so I don't know if it's totally my thing, but I showed it to my roommate, and apparently Lauren Bukes is a really good author. She's read other things by her, so I will still, you know, be willing to give it a shot. Going on the thread of only getting books 2 and 3 of a series, I picked up books 2 and 3 of The 100, which is Day 21 and Homecoming. I don't have book 1 and I haven't read book 1. I'm probably just gonna pick it up from the library, but I am really into the TV show. I actually already finished it, but I was interested in it because I skimmed the Wikipedia article of the books, and according to what I read on the Wikipedia article, the books are totally different from the show. So I thought that I would, you know, at least check them out. I haven't read book 1 and don't even have it in my house, but I'm sure it's not going to be that hard to find. And I got these 2 for free, so I figured why not. I've got just a couple more things here. So I've also picked up a copy of Symbiont by Mira Grant. This one's been out for a while, but she was doing a signing, so I figured I would pick it up there. Mira Grant is the pen name for Seanan McGuire. She also wrote the Newsflesh trilogy, which is Feed, Deadline, and Blackout, which I think I've talked about on this channel. I genuinely can't remember, but it's like a political thriller set about 20 years in the future that also happens to have zombies in it. So I love that series. It's very dark, it's very emotional. I'm about halfway through Parasite, which is book 1 of the trilogy that Symbiont is the book 2 of, but I, you know, figured while I was in con, I might as well pick up book 2 to get it signed. The last thing that I picked up at con, which is not the last thing I have to talk about, is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee, I don't know how to pronounce this, Ahdie? A-H-D-I-E. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But it's basically a retelling of The 1001 Nights with Scheherazade. So I absolutely love the cover of this. So first of all, it's got this cool thing where you can sort of see her through there. And then when you open it up, there's a picture of her inside, which I just love. I think it's a beautiful cover. It's, again, been getting talked about a lot on, you know, the book blogger world. So while I was there, I just thought I'd give it a try. And then also while I was there, I stayed with my friend for a little while and she ended up giving me a book. So she gave me The Paper Magician by Charlie N. Holmberg. I know literally nothing about this. She just said that I might like it, I might not. So I guess I'll try. Something about, obviously, magicians and apprentices and things. I don't know, we'll find out. Another thing that I picked up while I was in San Diego, this isn't exactly a Comic-Con release, but it's kind of related in the book world. It's actually the shirt that I am currently wearing, because I picked it up at the bookstore that I used to work at when I was down there. I stopped in and said hi to everyone, because it's got this amazing, like, library date stamp thing on it. I freaking love this shirt. I think it's amazing. It's very soft. The only problem with it is that this is an extra large, and I am not a particularly large person. I'm tall, I'm 5'11", but I'm not that big. And basically it kind of seems like it's a junior-sized shirt that they stuck in the adult section, so that part kind of sucks. It's, the company is called, like, Out of Print, I think. They do a lot of, like, book-related shirts. I ended up actually staying a couple extra days after con because I used to live in San Diego, so it was kind of nice to be able to catch up with some of my friends. Again, I completely failed to take any video of it, though. However, I am very pleased that I managed to not get horrifically sick the way that I did last year, where I woke up Thursday morning after flying in Wednesday with a hideous fever, sore throat, everything. Before I even made it to the convention center, I was just so miserable the entire weekend. So I'm really glad I managed to avoid that. And I think that, you know, I managed a pretty substantial haul this year. Kind of on accident. I just kind of lost track of how much I'd picked up. I will obviously be reading some of these as soon as possible. I've already read Court of Fives, which again, I really enjoyed, but I will see you guys soon with another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. What are you doing out there? Guys! Cat, if you're gonna be here, you need to shut up.